Say a word. Out loud. Right now. Any word at all. That sound that just came out of your mouth, somebody had to be the very first human to ever make it. Around 100,000 years ago, one person opened their mouth and said the first word in all of history. We do not know who they were. We do not know what it meant. And here is the part that haunts me. No one alive will ever hear it. But every word you have ever spoken, every text, every song, every time you have whispered, "I love you," all of it traces back to that one tiny sound. So what was it? And how close can science actually get? Here is the cruel part. Words do not fossilize. A bone can survive for 1,000,000 years, but a spoken sound vanishes the instant it leaves your lips. There were no recordings. There was no writing. Writing was only invented around 5,000 years ago, long, long after people had already been talking for ages. So the first word was spoken, heard, and lost, all in about 1 second. And yet, science can get closer to it than you might think. Long before real words, our ancestors already made sound. Like chimpanzees today, they could scream, grunt, and call out to each other. But those sounds were locked. A danger call always meant danger, and nothing else. The true magic of language was the moment a sound could suddenly stand for anything. A sound for water, a sound for you, a sound for something that was not even there. That leap, from noise to meaning, may be the single most important thing our species has ever done. So what did that first sound actually sound like? You probably picture a simple grunt like ugh, or maybe ma. But many researchers think the earliest speech sounds might have been clicks. Yes, clicks. The kind of sharp snap you can make with your tongue right now. Some of the oldest language families on Earth, spoken by peoples in southern Africa whose roots reach back further than almost anyone else alive, are still full of clicking sounds. Clicks are crisp, they travel well while hunting, and they may be a relic of how humans first learned to shape sound on purpose. The first word might not have been spoken at all. It might have been clicked, and it almost certainly was not poetry. The first word was probably just useful, a warning, a name, a sound for look or run or mine. And here is something strange. Across totally unrelated languages all over the world, the word for mother often sounds nearly the same. Mama. Why? Because is one of the very first sounds a baby makes while feeding. So some scientists think the earliest words came straight out of the mouths of infants, were copied by their parents, and passed on. The first word humans ever shared might have simply been mother. But none of this could happen without a change deep inside the head. Hidden in your brain is the machinery for language, and one tiny gene, often nicknamed the language gene, helps wire the fine muscle control your mouth and throat need in order to speak. Other animals carry a version of it too. Ours is just slightly different. Somewhere in our distant past, our brains and our bodies crossed a line, and for the very first time, an animal could turn a private thought into a sound and place that thought directly inside another mind. That is what a word really is. It is telepathy made of air. And once we had words, everything changed. You could warn someone about a danger they had never seen with their own eyes. You could teach a skill without having to show it. You could tell a story about yesterday, about tomorrow, or about a world that does not even exist. The humans born 10,000 years ago, the ones who built the first villages and farms, could only do any of it because someone, long before them, had first learned to speak. Language is the invisible thread tying every human who has ever lived to every human who ever will. So will we ever truly hear it? No. The first word is gone forever, dissolved into the air of an African morning 100,000 years ago. We can rebuild the bones, we can rebuild the tools, and even the faces of the people who said it. But the sound itself, the very first thing one human ever said to another on purpose, that is one echo we are never getting back. So tell me, if you could travel back in time and hear that first word for just 1 second, would you want to? And what do you think it actually was? Drop it in the comments and let us guess the first thing humans ever said.